really interested in hearing your story about how you started your business or when you started it, and then what happened shortly thereafter. So give it to us from the top if you could.
Yes, absolutely. No, I've always um, prided myself on the fact that, can you say that? Prided myself. Sometimes I say things I don't even know if it's an actual word or expression, but I take a lot of pride in the fact that I consider myself somebody who's always open to challenge, which always presents an element of risk, and being able to navigate through that and developing resiliency or improving my levels of resiliency along the way. And every time I feel like I've just come out of a storm and I've succeeded, somehow I've come out the other end wiser and stronger. I always think it's going to be easier the next time I encounter a challenge, until 2020. Oh my God, I'm laughing now, but Lance, there was some dark moments, like real moments where I was like, oh my God, what a mistake. Why did I do this? It's the self-doubt creeps in and totally paralyzed me. So let me back it up a bit and bring everybody into like the beginning of the story, if you will. So I've always been consulting part-time. So when I was working with other organizations, my last job was with the government of Alberta. And wow, did I learn so much working with them. But I was always working part-time as a consultant on the side, always with the blessing and permission of the leaders of my organization. But my goal was one day to launch my own business, my own consulting business. It was a dream I always had. As soon as I started to consult part-time, my side hustle, I always wanted to launch my own business. And over the course of my career, I developed my expertise not only academically, hence going to pursue and complete a PhD, but also professionally by seeking higher and higher positions of leadership. Because I didn't want to be that consultant that spoke from a position of like a theoretical position, but lived it and breathed it and immersed myself in the leadership arena. So when I could talk about the struggles that we face as leaders and managers, I could talk their talk, and it helps me consult better too, because I get their operational context. So I'm not going to come in and design pie in the sky solutions that are totally, like you can't even implement operationally. Exactly. So I spent years developing the confidence within myself to do it through experience in academia. And then finally, my last position I got, I was about to get, my name was in a competition to move up the rank. And everyone was saying, it's yours to lose. You're acting in the position. It's yours to lose. And then so my name was in there. I had my interview ready, set and go. And a couple of days before the interview, I woke up 3 a.m. in the morning. I had a panic attack and realized this isn't what I want to do with my life anymore. Pulled my name out of the competitive process, which was a huge ego, like shot to the ego. Like, what will people think that I'm like quitting, right? Yeah. But it really signaled to me that if you're willing to not move any further in the organization, this is the time to launch your business full time. Yep. So I met with my supervisor and explained to her what my passion was. And she kind of knew all along, because I'm a very transparent person. And she gave me my blessing, and we created an exit strategy for me. And the goal was in 2020, at some point before the end of the fiscal quarter, I would resign officially. But the exit strategy wasn't working very well for me, because as a senior manager in charge of a really big, complex project for the government, how do you not show up to work part-time? I felt like I was letting my team down. I was letting myself down. And so I decided in end of January, I gave them my 30-day notice. I'm like, as of February, I'll be officially resigned and I'll launch my business. So that was February 2020. February 7th was the first day that I did it full-time. And I was so excited. I had a keynote presentation in March for the Women in Safety. It was called, Women in Safety Conference. And it was an amazing experience. And from there, a lot of work came my way. And so this is March now. So I have some contracts in place for future keynotes. I have proposals that have been sent out waiting to get approval on to work on big organizational improvement contracts. And then the pandemic hit. Yeah. And here's the funny thing. Initially, I didn't think I was going to be that busy. So I was going to develop the digital side of my business, which is all the online courses that I offer on leadership development. So I thought I was going to spend most of my time doing that. But then when all of a sudden I got all these contracts, I was like, oh, I have to shift. And I guess some of the anxiety of what the future was to hold for me disappeared. But when the pandemic hit and all the contracts disappeared, literally all of them, my clients ghosted me. I just reached out and said, I understand the pressure you're under. I'm here to support you. But, I'm like, yeah, obviously I'm not the priority anymore, rightfully so. All of a sudden panic set in because I'm like, oh my God. Now, because before it was like, okay, I don't know what the future holds, but the economic climate was good. Now things were completely different. And I had no idea how I was going to navigate through this. And how do you reach out to clients and build your business and sell yourself and the value you have to add when these companies are terrified that they may not be around in a year? I felt like it was so self-serving on my part to do that. And it didn't sit well with me. Plus at the time, like I'm a new entrepreneur, uh, in terms of having to market myself, which isn't a skill that comes natural to people. You have to develop a lot of confidence in that. So I had a lot of things not going well for me, if you will. And so what I decided to do was really develop my business in terms of my presence in my field through social media and develop intentional relationships with the clients whose contracts we either canceled or put on hold. And one of the ways I did that was I developed a podcast and invited these clients. And technically, they weren't really clients yet, but I saw them as future clients. And so I would invite them on my podcast so they could share from a leadership perspective what their organization was going through and how they were supporting their team and going through it. And we actually, because that's one of my values is relationships. So I built relationships with them. I got to know them. One individual that I really got to know very well was doing his MBA. And so I took a keen interest in that. And so we talked a lot about his academic experiences and shared mine. And I just really developed trusting relationships with these individuals while developing my presence on social media. And then still not a lot of business came my way. So a lot of dark moments, a lot of tears, a lot of, oh my God, I let my family down. And I'm going to be very blunt and honest. And I'm not sure a lot of people do this, but I made $16,000 my first year.
Yeah.
Not a lot of money. That is really scary when you go from a six-figure salary, an independent woman, to like below the poverty line. And my situation, I guess I'm very fortunate because my husband sacrificed a lot for me to live this dream. That's why it's important to know who is in your support network. And we had long conversations before I launched my business, like what's the worst case scenario? Not ever thinking would happen, but it did. So he was so supportive, but internally it was a struggle because I felt like I was a failure.
Yeah.
It was not easy.